Good morning and welcome to the On the Go Post Show with your Go Morning team. I'm Danielle Wiggins with Austin Love, Jasmine Monroe, Holly Strano, Dave Chudowski, and Maureen Cayo. And Maureen, we're in the red here and have our holidays. And there's a lot to talk about this morning. And of course, you always can join us by putting your perspective in the comment section. COVID-19 impacting the Ohio State Buckeyes. Big news came out yesterday about the Michigan game being canceled. Austin, you were on that story all morning long. What's the latest?
Yeah, so basically, they came out with this yesterday that Michigan canceled the game, and it was essentially due to a number of COVID cases on the teams. Went through the similar situation last week. Michigan had to cancel their Maryland matchup, of course. Not as big a game as Ohio State, Michigan being, one of the biggest rivals, best rivals in all of sports. Had to cancel that due to COVID-19. Of course, a lot of people are upset about this, and but understandably so. We want to make sure that players are safe, fans are safe, everyone is safe with this, and due to the COVID numbers and the crazy world that we're living in right now, of course, they just simply couldn't make this happen. So right now, and here's a kind of a crazy stat. This is, Michigan and Ohio State go way, way back. The last time that they did not play each other was over 100 years ago in 1917. So, of course, everyone here knows what this game means, and a huge game, a huge importance. But this puts the Buckeyes in a really tough spot right now. They did have a game canceled earlier this year, and then another game canceled. So they've only played 5 games so far. So being ranked number 4 in the country, this potentially puts them out of the Big Ten championship. Right now, they're not eligible to play in the Big Ten championship because they've only played 5 games. You need to at least play 6 games to be eligible for the Big Ten championship. So right now, of course, a lot of fans worried about that. And there's still a little bit of hope, and Dave, you can chime on this as well. For right now, is that ESPN's reporting that Big Ten athletic directors are scheduled to meet today to decide on a rule change allowing Big Ten to play in the Big Ten championship game. So if that happens, they'll be able to. If they do not have a rule change, then Indiana will play where they sit right now. So a lot at stake right now, and potentially this means not being able to play for a national championship right now, where the Buckeyes are sitting currently number 4. They could be, moved from that position. So this could cost them potentially a national championship. It's just the crazy world that we're living in right now. I'm sure Michigan fans or whoever probably won't love this opinion, but I did not go to Ohio State. I went to Iowa. I don't cheer for Ohio State, but I do cheer for the Big Ten. It is good for the Big Ten to have a Big Ten team in the playoffs. I'm hoping that they make a rule change, because clearly Ohio State is one of the best teams in the country, definitely the best team in the Big Ten. It's good for the Big Ten. So, Dave, if you want to weigh in on this as well.
And this report from the Love Shack, brought to you by Starbucks. And I will tell you right now that if Ohio State does not play in the playoffs, I will come over and drink a full cup of coffee anytime you want at your place, Austin. As you know, I don't drink coffee. And
why would I want that, Dave? So I'm providing the coffee.
I'm just making a point here that Ohio State will be in the playoffs. I have no concern over it all. The Big Ten will change this rule. It makes no sense for Ohio State not to represent the Big Ten. First of all, we have to remind you that football and Ohio State, Michigan is not bigger than life, and obviously the coronavirus. But we still have played games. Major League Baseball, the NFL, college football, NBA. They have found ways to make it happen. So I want to make that clear. But this is huge. This is the biggest rivalry in college sports, and maybe in all of sports. And 103 consecutive times they've played since 1917. This is unbelievable to think that we will not have an Ohio State-Michigan game. Okay. But that said, you have to get past that now and what it means. And when the Big Ten made this rule, they knew that there was a chance that games would be canceled or postponed, and not even postponed, canceled, because the Big Ten did not leave any weeks for their possible makeups. So I think they'll abolish that rule of having to play 6 games, or they'll find another game for Ohio State next week. They'll find a way to make this happen. Ohio State's 4th right now in the college rankings. They beat Indiana head-to-head. There is no way, unless Ohio State were to lose a game, if they played another game, that they will not be in the playoffs. They're one of the top 4 teams in the country. I'm not concerned about it at all. So it's a disappointment that this game won't go on, but I have full belief that they will move on.
Yeah, Michigan right now 2-4, really struggling not only with COVID-19 right now, but even struggling on the field. I said during the show that my husband is a big Michigan fan. Don't know why. He grew up in Ohio, right here, but I would chide him all every Saturday and said, how much did Michigan lose by this week? And so getting you guys in here, Doris Walker says she's watching from Cleveland, but Daniel Rose Sr. says they, speaking of Michigan, were fine all season until they had to play Ohio State. Todd says Michigan, and he X'd out the M, is scared, and we owe Dustin Fox an apology. Shayla says Michigan just didn't want that beat down. And I did say that to my husband, like, oh, you better hope y'all don't play Ohio State because you guys are going to get mobbed.
It would have been ugly.
Yeah, it definitely would. So we will keep tracking, seeing how this all plays out. If, as you said, Austin, if the Big Ten, they vote to change the rules or Dave, you said add a game to Ohio State to get them into that Big Ten title game. But also coronavirus is impacting schools as well. And we're hearing reports of many kids failing because of remote learning. So let us know, how are your kids doing in school right now if they are remote learning? And Jasmine, you were on that story this morning. What were you seeing?
Well, basically, experts are just telling parents to be okay with these grades this go round. She said that it's just only a flash. It's just a snapshot of what's happening. This doesn't mean your child is a failure. Don't be so hard on your kids. We are literally living in a time of like nothing is right. Everything is upside down. So being hard on your kids and focusing on grades at this point right now is very hard on them. So she just said, giving your kids encouragement. She also talked about setting up a schedule for your kids. I know that I need a schedule. If I don't plan everything out myself, my day is just wild. So just think of, a kid, a teenager, not having that structure and just waking up every day, going to sleep late, not eating properly. Like all of these things play a major role in what your kids are doing in the classroom. So you can't expect them to perform well if they're not getting dressed for school, if they're not getting out of the bed. And of course that, nothing's normal and it's hard for parents to do everything, but you have to make some type of structure for your kids. They said that studies show that the English language learners and the disabled and disadvantaged students are hurting the most. So those are the students who need that one-on-one time with teachers. And teachers also suggested, don't allow your kids to turn off that camera. That's when your teacher knows if you're focused or if you're falling short from what everyone's learning in the classroom. But personally, I just want to know, Dave, Maureen, Holly, Danielle, Austin, you have a dog. How's your dog doing in school?
He doesn't do anything. He sleeps.
I love it. Good job, Jeff. Love it.
How you're handling it. I mean, I know that, okay, we talk to the experts. It's always good to hear the experts, but if I was a parent, I want to hear from other moms and dads. Like, what are you doing to make this work? And how are your kids still maintaining? And, you don't have to say their grades right now, but do you notice a difference from the virtual learning from in-class learning?
I can chime in really quickly because my kids, they are on a schedule that changes depending on the color of this county that we live in or other health data. And so they were full in, then they were hybrid, then now they're fully remote. And I have to tell you, my daughter is doing better in terms of remote. She hates remote and she doesn't do well on it. And when they did remote learning, they didn't do live teaching. But now, since they're all fully remote, they switched it to live teaching. And she says she likes it a little better. So it is difficult because no matter the week, it can change. And so that's what's hard to keep track of. and also keep them motivated and saying, hey, this is a difficult time. And I struggle to lower my expectations for them because I know what they can do. But you're right that person is right about this is just different times.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of the curriculums. Sorry, Holly. I've noticed some of the curriculum is adjusting to. I don't want to say that they're lowering the bar in any way because they're not, but I think that they're being a lot more forgiving of the difference in learning. I've noticed that in parents I've talked to, it's not, they went over a lot of what was supposed to be in the curriculum last year. They did a lot of repeating at the beginning of this school year. So I feel like the schools are trying to adjust for the difference in the school year and the difference in learning.
But I was just going to say, my kids are both remote and it is hard. They definitely, I could see it in them at times. And I try, Jasmine, I'm so about routine and so are they. So when it's recess time, a lot of times Grady will be in the driveway shooting hoops and just, Jessica will go take a quick little run, even if it's cold, just to get out of the house. And I think that those things are really key. And the other thing that I when they're having days, because they do have days and very understandable, I just emphasize to them that every one of their friends are in the same exact scenario. Nobody feels normal when they're having those sad moments like, I wish so-and-so could come over, or this was different. And it's hard. It's hard. Sometimes you do have to literally just cry with them and give them a hug.
As we close, let me get all of you in here who are commenting on this topic. Dawn, she says, I have to completely change my curriculum. She teaches art and it's not the same this year. She says her girl is in a hybrid right now at Padua. Educationally, she's doing okay. She just misses making connections with new friends and teachers. And so Shayla Smith says no remote learning as of yet, thanks to playing local schools, keeping kids safe. So again, COVID-19 continuously topping our conversations, and you can always continue to comment on these topics that we're talking about because we're always looking to hear from you. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. We'll see you during the Today Show and see you back at 4:30 a.m. on Go.
Bye.
Everybody.